What's going on, fellas? The topic of this video is .023 or .024 MIG wire versus the standard .03. The smaller .023 wire acts like an arc welder at low amperage settings, whereas the .03 wire, it just splatters, it pops, all hell breaks loose. It's very hard to weld at low amperage settings with the .03 wire, in my experience. I'm always just trying to change my travel speed and blaze through, and that's why everything I do looks like hell. I'm always in a big hurry, but for the most part, that's the one notion that I want to nail down in this video, is that the .023 wire acts like an arc welder at amperage settings as low as 2 on a Miller-Matic 141. Like, I'm running all the way down here, guys, on some of these. I'm pretty sure that's right where I was. But for the most part, that's just the one thing. You could never run this thing on that setting with the .03 wire. It splatters, it pops. The wire doesn't want to melt. It's a completely different animal. When you look at the wires, they're about the same size, but it's just like night and day. So if I missed that in the video, that's the one thing I want to nail down, is that it acts like an arc welder at low amperage settings, even the lowest. So there it is. Now, for a long time, I've been wanting to pull the trigger and get some of that .023 wire, but I just never did it because it's very hard to find. First of all, you have to order it online, and I'm just now getting into the habit of doing that, ordering everything I need. And I had to go out and buy all new tips and everything. So I finally pulled the trigger on it, and I gotta tell you, I feel like an idiot for not going with my gut instinct. Now, I've always knew that you could get smaller beads and weld smaller artifacts. Like, I was able to weld and tack this stainless steel tubing without burning holes through it. I did do a bunch of testing before I started, and I did this is without argon purge. So I went ahead and did some back purging. That there is how large they are without the back purging. You can see that's a very large piece of sugaring there. And then on the reverse side here, look at the difference between back purging and not back purging. It's just a little bead, nothing too serious. Still does get into the flow path. What we're seeing is the other end here. Oh yeah, that's the one I wanted to show you. Look how bad that gets. Wow. Like, nearly closes the pipe off, guys. So without purging, I was just using this secondary little bottle I have here with a very low flow. You want the flow to be extremely low in tubing this small, because you can actually cause a Venturi effect in some cases and pull a hole in the weld. But I just had to show you guys that. I've been taking forever to change over, and I'm glad I did. Look how small of a weld bead you can get out of this. Now, I'm trying to do that with your other wire. It's nearly impossible. But I also wanted to show you this about it. If you were doing large work and you needed to run a big fat bead, it can run fat beads just fine. It takes a little while, and it's not as industrious. So if you're doing work where you're getting paid to do a lot of large welds like this, I don't recommend it. But if you're building anything like this at all, anything small, I can't believe I waited this long. And here's one of the reasons why. There is no video you can find online that discusses the difference between .03 and .28, except for one video. And they were kind of pointing out the fact that you only needed it for hobby stuff. I can't remember what it was about the video, but it didn't put a nail in the coffin for me on the .030 wire. So that's why I'm uploading this video. If you're thinking about pulling the trigger on changing to a smaller wire, and you build things like this, or anything that's small, anything that you would build that would sit on a table, in my opinion, I definitely recommend it. One thing I can say though is you don't ever go very high on the amperage, so you're definitely not going to get the penetration, of course, but the penetration there is not going to be very much at all.